107. Do I have another story with a moral? Is the sky blue? Civil rights movements take hundreds of years because racism grows like cancer to reverse most racial rights advances until your Humanity Treaty institutes world-loving education to finally overwhelm and ever shrink anti-human propaganda and habit. George Floyd lay on a Minneapolis sidewalk unresisting while policeman Derek Chauvin ground his knee into George's windpipe with his full body weight. Onlookers screamed, "Stop! You're killing him!" George kept croaking, "I can't breathe!" For his rather modest under the influence and candy pilfering violations, the nonviolent Mr. Floyd could have been cuffed and eased into the back seat of a police car, but easy law enforcement was not the objective. Life-threatening abuse of inferior black scum, not a human being, was several officers' purpose and motivation. Choking asphyxiation kills heart and brain tissue in far less than 10 minutes, so George died in the ambulance despite all the oxygen and cardiac stimulation that EMS could give him. Then, for over a year, history's biggest worldwide campaign against racist evil was mounted by tens of millions of people. Lawful racial civil rights advanced in some nations and retreated in others. Before Elon Musk bought Twitter, this world medium had recently advanced the humanity of its directors and 1 billion users by banning hate speech. Then Mr. Musk quickly ruled with private owner legal authority, "On my medium, let hatred of an online war against browns, blacks, women, and the sexually and gender different rage again. Boycott Twitter." So far, most judges believe that the First Amendment protects hate speech, not just shouting fire in a crowded theater when there is none, which could trample people to death. That only because they have never read and heard your lawsuit, which would detail how 100 varieties of hate speech not only encouraged, but actually caused big increases in hate murders. For example, honor killing of girls who had contact with forbidden men or were raped. Online hate directs murder of gays, transgenders, women, blacks, browns, and believers of faiths that haters hate. Ever since candidate Trump in 2015 called brown immigrants racists and relentlessly attacked black, Jewish, and Asian leaders and transgenders, online hate and minority assaults and murders have sharply increased all over the world. Today, only Melania Trump says stop, while her hater husband says go. Someday your world law will ban hate speech proven to kill. Last week, a podcaster made world waves by asking racist Trump to pardon hate killer Derek Chauvin, serving life for federal hate murder crime as well as a state conviction that the American president could not undo. Musk's eyes lit up. "That's something to think about," he tweeted, obviously to his bigot pal with the power to get it done. While Chauvin would stay jailed on his Minnesota murder conviction, think of the millions loving murder of blacks whose response to the approval of the world's most powerful man would be the itch to commit hate murders of blacks themselves. Donald could pardon me. Trump probably won't pardon Chauvin, knowing that 20 million blacks would take to the streets for his retirement and 5 million more would vote against his Republican Congress in 2028. I recommend that the Black Lives Matter movement key in on voting rights, always removed by racists and only restored by political parties 100% against current racist political action. For example, closing most polling places in minority neighborhoods. You must sue for court action and hammer congressional action to provide long hours, multiple day, short drive, amply staffed voting equally provided every American. Then add this to our world treaty. Make majority party trashing of minority rights illegal for 1,000 years. A racist Supreme Court majority destroyed the American Voting Rights Act years ago. A Democrat has introduced a bill to override the court and restore the full Voting Rights Act. But before January 20th, 2029, Trump will destroy the career of any Republican legislator who dared to vote for voting rights returned that the racists took away. The bill then will be killed by a 100% party line vote. Racism boomed by all Republicans only. Not, in my opinion, their demonstrated behavior in support of the president who called Nazis carrying burning Klan-style torches, chanting, "Jews will not replace us." Very fine people. Please remember that dirty, unconstitutional private money paid to politician candidates is the giant factor responsible for polarizing American politics, particularly since an anti-humanity leader of one party directs that money to enforce his party dictatorship, polarizing Congress into pro-humanity and anti-humanity factions. The biggest money coercion flowing from corporate and white supremacy bribers. You must kick the anti-humanity political party out of both houses of Congress in November 2028. Now pass our new, stronger Voting Rights Act. When Trump vetoes it, threaten every Republican you can with 2030 defeat unless they join our override. And be sure to keep the racist candidate out of the White House in 2028. Now, pack our Supreme Court as well as the presidency with democratic, constitutional, love every other human beings. Then we'll invite every totalitarian, racist leader or candidate we cannot teach, convert, and reform to go sell used cars and leave us decent people alone to love and protect, not hate and kill other people. Only when sick with inhumanity people are not re-educated in why and how to love thy neighbor as thyself, human, not just Christian ethics, and also left with every illegal or wrongly legal power to discriminate against and abuse every different group they hate for no reason of fault or guilt, do such hateful, power-enabled and twisted keep coming back after hopelessly weak and incomplete reform efforts to destroy humanity again and again. Don't take my word for it. Look all around you, near and far, at all this evil. Now, get busy and we shall overcome legally. Donald Trump's power desperation for empire, similar to Putin's obsession, drives him to cause severe economic harm to Americans, just as his illegal destruction of large sections of our government begins ever to grow harm to hundreds of millions of modest people's medical and economic care. One of the world's biggest trading partnerships, America and Canada, he works to destroy with a giant, illegal by the executive alone, trade war. Despite its terrible pending damage to American farmers and car makers and many of their American customers, he believes that far less massive, rich, and powerful Canada will become so devastated that he can march in and force them to become America's 51st state, doubling his territory and majesty. He has already changed Prime Minister Trudeau's title to Governor. My current speeches demand in legal detail that we stop this evil man. Over world history, 14 men and their successors ravaged humanity to build empires. Every one hollowed out their own nation's economy by non-productive war until losing their world grip to counterattack that finally destroyed the everywhere attackers and their last stupid, crazy, power-mad emperor. I have never heard of any historian, analyst, or reformer that advanced beyond chronicling of inhuman abuse and gigantic power other than helplessly excusing this as might is right, boys will be boys, and what can we do? Why is my stop 'em with absolute law against absolute power so weird and unheard of? Could you find value and inspiration in my novel approach? My research and ink pen that won't stop, and my voice I'll not silence, hope that your voices and actions magnify little old me 1,000,000,000 times. The American-led world arms race, corrupt government bribery, and democratic constitution destruction drives our 15th world empire. And now the 16th Russian juggernaut that captured traitor Trump has joined. Both empires are destroying themselves by Toynbee's rule, with one final difference. We end all humanity, not just ethically, but 8 billion totally, by loss of water and food and nuclear war. In America, Trump and Musk claim root out of fraud and waste to justify wrecking government. But the liars gave themselves away by firing 17 inspector generals with giant portfolios to find and stop fraud and waste. It turns out that the 4-billionaire and 400-billionaire duo are booming personal and crony fraud and waste, robbing $2 trillion out of little people's benefits each year to hand it over in tax breaks, now pending for mostly millionaires and billionaires and their corporations. Our midterm New People's lawmakers will vote to reverse this highway robbery, but are likely to crash and burn from Trump's vetoes and his monolithic 45% congressional remaining base. In scores of nations, medical care is guaranteed everyone. But in America, the single industrialized nation that refuses its poor and uninsured medical care, we're welcome only to hopeless debt. Dirty corporate campaign dough buys big medicine and big pharma a sick care for profit system, charging us 5 to 50 times more per medicine and procedure than world citizens pay. But why should you and I give a crap if we can afford medical insurance that keeps our excellent medical care within our middle or upper class budget? Screw the poor. Didn't they choose to live where jobs are few and schools underfunded? It's not our fault that doors of opportunity still slam shut for the wrong colors. Don't call us prejudiced and heartless. We're making our greatest nation great again by destroying Congress's lawfully established 1,000 most compassionate to the needy government programs to deliver the loot to desperately needy millionaires and billionaires. Don't they bribe Congress, executive, and the Federalist Society, picking our judges to hand over government and world weaponry to the top 1%, still deprived of even more oligarchy and dictatorship, to explode their wealth from our victimization, a final 500%? While the resulting environmental neglect dooms 8 billion. History's most accomplished medical therapy advancer, America, allows our health to deteriorate to third world level with a government-bribed, zero preventative care emphasis, big business, big pharma, sick care for profit system that eats millions of patient victims for lunch. Courtesy of the only industrialized nation that offers all, without 100% insurance coverage, million-dollar debt bankruptcy. And why does every other industrialized nation guarantee government-funded medical care to all? Because they don't allow big business to bribe leaders to deny it. That's right. Stop the dirty money, honey. I'll wrap up this speech by returning to America's Trump II crushing of Congress-voted government. You must seek decisions up to the High Court to quickly overrule with enforcement the president's or his assistant's firing of one employee without justification and replacement, or impoundment of one Congress-passed dollar. The fact that 6 junkie justices made Trump immune from prosecution by merely claiming that the commission of any crime is allowed in the course of his sacrosanct, indispensable, highfalutin job does not mean that those Lord lackeys can allow crimes against Americans and our Constitution and our congressional laws to continue without you stopping, overruling them. Our high court made him punishment untouchable, but not just yet a king who can do no wrong and is above the law. Only if you save our democracy under final assault by stopping his wrongs, by enforcing congressional power and executive duty and limitation, will you stop his savage war upon the American people. You justices must decide to never make sacrosanct a president's lawless total power. Hallowed instead must be crime denied our lawful leaders, charged with providing for Americans' general welfare, never public harm for private gain. Which decades of corporate bribery you lawless idiots keep increasing have twisted our former democracy to special interest, pay-to-play oligarchy. Better get constitutionally lawful fast, or we're gonna neuter you 6-6 with our sexy 7. Then they'll overturn Citizens United that boomed dirty, private-owned public money to the moon. Expect our suit to ban all gifts to, in fact, bribery of public servants and candidates, replaced with only equal campaign funds supplied only by our public taxes. Review my speech's every new law and treaty to ban all but border defense military force. Where else will we find the money to save, not destroy the world and our future? Why do certain upper-class minority political parties win most elections to hammer oligarchy, ruining general welfare government? With hundreds of clever vote suppression bills, always targeted at poor folks of wrong races and religions. The ultimate example, whenever certain modest districts of color appear poised to vote out an especially tyrannical congressman, the state legislature, slight abuser majority, votes to close most of their polling places, so 1 million 12-hour shift workers have to drive 10 miles and wait 4 hours to vote. Then corrupt courts quash any suits to stop this unconstitutional robbery. After 107 speeches, I'm stuck on one riff like a broken record. Go public. End corruption. Make 1,000 life-saving, rights-restoring laws to overturn that many life-destroying laws. Somebody gotta get on this yesterday. Well, who?